regular,
rare. When a lot of people learned how to make an R sound in American English, they're often taught that it's a very strong sound. It sounds like a dog barking, right? Like ruh, ruh, ruh. But the reality is that the more important sound isn't the R, but the vowels that tend to come around it. Because remember, American English is a lot about breath. One of the things we're not going to spend a lot of time on, though, is mouth position, because as long as the back of your tongue is high, the front of your tongue can either go up or go down. For our purposes today, I'm going to keep the front of my tongue down to let more air pass through. Rare. So again, you've noticed that first R, you notice that second R. But the key sound is actually going to be that A sound, right? A, air, rare. To make sure that we can get that vowel to stand out, let's just start by saying the vowel sound, A. Let's now say the vowel 3 times. A. Try to do that again and make sure it's linked with breath, no choppiness. So not A. More A. Can you do A? Ray. Let's try to add on the final R. Ray, rare. Notice how weak that my final R sound is there. If maybe you're saying A, okay, and maybe you're even saying ray, okay, but saying rare tenses things up. Maybe you're doing like rare. What you can try doing is instead do an A sound and then do an air sound. So A, air. And then you can add in the first R. Air, rare. Let's try this same idea with another word. How about
rural,
so our first step is going to be identifying what's the major vowel sound. I think it's that O sound, almost like or. So let's do like O, or. Let's now try to add the first R. O, or. Roar. Roar. The last part, of course, is that dark L. Rural. Regular. So the key sound here is going to actually be the sound. Now we're going to add an R before that. Forward. Regular. You want to make sure that you're not rolling your R sound. Breath. Break. Try. Trail. Creek. Crew. Priest. Pretzel. Grew. Grain. One of the reasons the letter N causes so much trouble for a lot of English learners, and they don't even know it, is because they're applying their first language to English. To prove it, make an N sound for me. Now, if you're doing a sound like one thing you'll notice is if you hold that, your whole head kind of starts to shake a little bit and vibrate. And that's a sign already that your placement is very, very high. Placement means where you're projecting the sound from. In American English, your placement tends to be lower. So if you're saying an sound for your words, it can make things sound less natural. When, seen, man. Can you hear the difference between those? Another way you can kind of test this too is say the N sound 5 times, going down each time. In general, in American English, we want more of those lower ones than those higher ones. Another common misconception about the N sound is that the tip of your tongue, right there, needs to make contact with the top of your mouth. It's not actually true. You can have the tip of your tongue touch your bottom front tooth and use the middle of your tongue to make contact up here. When, seen, man. Now, you may be thinking,
but Jeff, those ones where my tongue was higher, that's actually a clearer N sound.
and that's actually kind of my point. American English likes vowels more than consonants. When you're getting those really clear consonants, you're often sacrificing the quality of your vowel sound. Let's practice this by kind of just linking some short phrases together with the tongue in the lower position with also a lower placement. Pen and, seen and, moon out. Anna. Another issue people have with N sounds too is shifting the vowel sound right before them. Pain. Seen. Cane. Winner. Which word did I say? Leader. How about now? These words all sound the same because of special rules with the letter T that we're about to discuss. The silent T is basically when the T is not pronounced at all. This is going to happen when the letter N comes before a T sound, usually in the middle of a word. This is also one of the biggest differences between American English and British English. So, if you have British training, you may find it hard to say words like center, international, advantage. But in all honesty, if you're spending time in North America, these are the most common ways of saying these words. The internet in the dental center had an advantage. This is when the letter T sounds like the letter D pronounced very quickly. Basically, your tongue goes up and down a little bit. It doesn't need to actually make contact with the top of your mouth. And again, it's going to sound like liter or little.
When does this happen?
Well, firstly, when you have a T sound that comes before an L, you'll often get this sound. Again, like in little. But this can also be done with Ds as well, like in puddle. Additionally, if you have an R plus a T plus a Y, you're going to get this fast D sound too, like party or 40. Lastly, if you have a vowel plus a T and another vowel sound, you will also get this sound. For instance, in a word like city. When you make a fast D sound, you're going to notice there are many different positions you can use. You can have firm contact with the tongue in the top of your mouth, like city. You can just have a slight raise of the tongue, like city. Or you can actually just keep the tongue down the entire time, like city, play, plate.
Same word?
The most common T sound in American English is probably the held T. This is where we tighten the throat and we don't allow air to pass through as easily. Also, we shorten the vowel sound. It's why when I say plate, you don't hear that t. Plate, plate. But let's go back to the beginning of the video. Are these the same word? Play, plate.
No.
Play is P-L-A-Y. That's with a very open A sound. Play. Plate has the held T. You don't hear the T, but I also shorten the vowel sound. Play. Plate. These sorts of held T situations are very common when a T comes before another consonant sound, especially across words. Apartment. What luck. Apartment. Apartment. What luck. What luck. Perhaps one of the most common places, though, for this held T sound is when mountain, mountain, curtain, curtain, plate, held T, sigh, no T, may, no T, might, held T, sort, held T. Let's now compare words that have a no T sound at all versus words that have a held T. Stay, state, car, cart, may, mate, my, might. Do you hate TH sounds? I have some things that are going to make them a lot easier to say though. You may have been taught to pronounce the TH sound with the tip of your tongue, right there, stuck in between your teeth. It's like, which works. But the problem is there are some combinations in English that actually become
Very
difficult to say when your tongue is stuck in that middle position. So we're going to go over two alternatives that are going to make your TH sounds a lot smoother across words. The first is that you want to put the tip of your tongue against the back of your top front tooth. So instead of th, you want to have more th. We're talking centimeters of difference, but it's going to have a very big impact on your sound. Thick. Then, this, thin, with the, math and, bather, loathe it. This is also going to help link specific sounds as well. For instance, that horrible
TH plus S sound. Like,
it just kind of slides up the back of your front tooth. So like paths, baths. If you're still doing that lower position like paths, or like baths, like it's
a lot harder.
For the second alternative though, the reality is that the TH sound can also be made with the tip of your tongue against your bottom front tooth, in the middle of your tongue making contact higher. Booth, booth, with, path, path, there, The other reality too is that sometimes the TH sound actually just kind of disappears. You can see that these sorts of reductions are extremely common when an N sound comes before a TH. And then, can they, in there. It's hard with the TH because a lot of languages don't have it, but one sound your language does have.
How many L sounds does the word level have? Well, the real answer is it kind of depends. What do you mean by L sounds? The L does appear 2 times, but what if I told you each of those L's sounds a little bit different? That first L is what's known as a light L. This is probably the way you're already pronouncing your L sounds, with the tip of your tongue high against the top of your mouth on the alveolar ridge, making contact maybe a little bit with your top front tooth. L, L. But if you're doing that same L sound at the end of the word, you're probably not sounding the most natural. Level, dark L. This is where the front of your tongue is down against the bottom of your mouth and the back of your tongue is slightly raised. The real key, though, is that you need lots of breath to move through. In fact, this is why the front of your tongue is down, because it lets more air come through. And what happens is the L almost becomes a vowel sound. The dark L is going to appear when an L is in the middle of a word. Wallet, village, faculty, alley. But it's also going to appear when an L is at the end of a word. Hill, trouble, level, social, light, trouble, file, seal, wallet. Something that you may notice as you make dark L sounds is that the consonant's a lot mushier, it's more muffled, it's not as clear. The advantage of this, though, is that it allows your vowel sounds to become more dominant. And don't forget, American English likes vowel sounds more than consonants. Dark L's can also be heard in sentences between words. The hill is tall. This is the real answer. There's coal in the engine. In fact, some of the most famously difficult words in English have dark L sounds. And if you can achieve this dark L sound, it might make the word a little easier to say. For instance, a word like world, girl. Again, you might be getting a tenser sound that's more closed off. With that front of your tongue down, it allows you to open things up more and allow more breath to pass through.